So hello and welcome to a quick video. I'm very excited and I just wanted to put a little video together just to show you and give you a quick insight of what I've got and what's new and what's relevant to my channel. That's this. This is the X-T5. Look at this little beauty. I managed to be one of the lucky people to be online on the 17th on the first thing in the morning. They went online at 10 o'clock and I managed to pick one up and I'm over the moon. I just want to give you a quick rundown on the specs and tell you my first initial, I've been using it for a few days, my first initial thoughts. Okay, this is no fancy speak, no fancy tech speak, no fancy anything. If you want to see that, there's plenty of other people doing it. This is just my first personal opinion on what I think of this camera. First of all, I got a silver one, the same as my X-T4. My X-T4, I've been using this now for a couple of years. Absolutely love it. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. But I wasn't one of the first to get. This is absolutely brand new and it's just out. Is there any difference? Ergonomically, not a lot. Maybe the body on this one's slightly smaller. I know I've got an L bracket on there at the moment and I haven't managed to get an L bracket for my X-T5, but it just feels a little bit different in the hand. It's got a nicer grip on the front, so you could actually get away with not having an L bracket like this that has the handle on it. You could probably get away with it, and if you're doing street photography, it does feel really nice. It's got a lovely thumb grip on the back so you can hold on to it, and it's got a bit more finger grip on the front, so I'm really quite impressed with the way they've done that. Aesthetically, the rest of it is pretty much similar. You've got your lens button on the side down here, which I don't particularly like. You know, for releasing your lens, it's down in this side. I would prefer to have one on this hand so that I can get hold of it, press it and turn my lens off rather than fiddling and try and get my thumb in the inside. But they're all the same. All Fujis are the same, so we can't really complain about that. The power button feels quite nice. The X-T4 was okay, this one's okay. The X-T3 was a little bit harder, I think, to work with. The buttons are slightly different. This has gone to a smaller, flatter button. It's quite close to the edge compared to the X-T4, and I have actually knocked it, getting it in and out my bag. The other one on the other side, again, it's not a bad size. It's squarer, whereas on the X-T4 they've tapered them a little bit, and I actually think I like the X-T4 tapered ones more than I do the flat square ones, but we'll see how we get on with them. I have noticed that I've knocked it a couple of times, and I've switched it from like bracketing to advanced and things like that. But that's just in getting used to it in my bag at the moment. You've got the same optics on the top, so you can change your optics if you wear glasses like me. I tend to take my glasses off quite a lot, and you've got the optics, you can set that right. There's not a lot really different. They're virtually exactly the same to use. So if you're used to using an X-T4 or even an X-T3 and you upgrade to an X-T5, you're going to find that you can still operate it in the dark. All your buttons are in the same place, and once you set up your menus, and I'll do a video on what I do on my menus, once you set up your menus, this is pretty much like for like now. There is one thing I've noticed different about this, and I'm one of the haters rather than the lovers, but on the back of the camera, I hated this fully articulated screen when I first got it. The reason was, when you get the L brackets were down here, and you couldn't actually get the camera out and flip your screen round, which was an absolute nightmare. But I modified my L bracket, and I've got this little clip on the front there, this little bar there, and it pulls my L bracket forward. And this is absolutely amazing. I want to speak to somebody about making this, because I'm so impressed with the way this works, because now I can actually get my screen out on the X-T4, I can open it all the way up and I can still flip it round and fully articulate my screen. Now this means I can use my camera in any position I want to. I can use it for video, where this is not gamed for video, this is actually aimed at photography. But the one big thing about this in photography, which is my biggest letdown, and I'm so disappointed they've done it, is on my camera, on my X-T4, I can look up if I want to, I can look down if I want to, so I can have my camera up in the air and I can have my camera down low. Okay, I can then also, when I'm shooting down low and I've got it in a vertical position, I can then have my screen like this, and I can shoot down low and I can look into my screen and I can get down really low and shoot like that. But the biggest thing is, when I go up above my head, and I do this a lot, I can turn my screen round and I can still see my screen. I can go right up in the air. It doesn't matter how high I go, I can still see with my screen. I can see up, or I can flip it round and I can see down. I can see every single position I want to, and when I close it, it's fully protected. Okay, that's my X-T4. What have they changed on the X-T5? They've gone to the same old screen as the X-T3. Big, for me, a big disappointment. Yes, you can flip it up. you can see up like this, and you can flip it down. You can see down like that. Now, did you see that? It's clipping against my bracket. So once I've got an L bracket on here, and I find what it's been doing is it's catching. When I want to see down, it's now catching against my Arca Swiss compatible plate down there. It's catching against the plate a little bit, and it doesn't want to flip out. Flipping it up, when you flip it up, it's actually, it's in a funny position, but it works, okay? One hard thing is once I've got an L bracket on here, I'm not going to be able to get hold of these as well. These are going to be quite hard to get hold of, so I need to modify an L bracket once I get it to be similar to that, I think, as well. And there's a little button on the side, and I've found this such a problem with the L brackets that you can't get your thumb in there. So when I'm shooting in a vertical position, I can get my little finger in there and I can flip it up. So I can go down low and I can see on the screen like that. I can pull it out and I can have a little look and I can see down there. But when I go up high, I can't flip the screen down. I cannot see my camera anymore. I cannot operate my camera once it's above my eye level. Okay, this for me, for a photography's camera, because you always go above eye level when you're in different, you're not always, but you go above eye level quite a lot. That is just ridiculous. Okay, I'm very, very disappointed that they've done that. If they'd have done a flippy out screen that flipped up and then a flippy out screen that flipped down, it would have nailed it. Absolutely brilliant. It doesn't have to be fully articulated like that, but just the fact that I can flip it up and flip it down. At the moment, I can only flip it up, so I've got to go vertical this way to look down on the screen or to look up at the screen. They don't make L brackets to go on the grip side. So whether I modify an L bracket to try and make something that works or not, I don't know. But this was one of my biggest problems with my X-T3, and they put it back on there, and I'm so upset they've done that. But that said, this camera is still well worth buying because of the modification to the internals and not the externals. So this is why I bought it. I'm going to have to learn to live with that screen and try and work a way around of actually working with it. So I'm going to bring up some specs on my phone, which I've just got beside me, just because my memory is full, and I don't have a lot more memory bank left to add other information. Basically, it's a 40 megapixel camera. You're getting nearly double the amount of pixels in this camera, so I'm hoping that I'm going to be getting a little bit more resolution with this and a little bit more clarity, crisper, sharper pictures. Now, I've taken loads of pictures. I'm up in Scotland at the moment. I'm doing a tour around Scotland. I've got a week off work and I have to use some holidays up, so I've come up to Scotland and I've been using this solely. I got it on the Friday. I ordered it on the Thursday. It turned up on the Friday. Excuse me. It turned up on the Friday. I threw it in my van, and I've literally set it up in the van and I'm using it straight out the box. I've set up the menus like for like for my X-T4, which is great, so I know I can use it, but I've got no L bracket and I'm just fumbling a little bit. I noticed one thing on the back. When I look at my JPEG images, they look different to when they do on the X-T4. They seem to be darker and I don't know, they just look different. I'm hoping when I get home I haven't messed up this week and I've still got all my images, because they're all shooting in RAW anyway on the computer. But yeah, I haven't actually looked. I've not pixel peeped. I've not looked at the images. I'm just here to tell you about what I think are my first initial thoughts of this. So it's 40 megapixels, absolutely great. It's weather sealed, the same as the X-T4, so I'm hoping it's going to be fine. Even though my X-T4, if I switch this on for you, you can see that I don't have any display on my screen on the back. My X-T4, the screen's packed up at the moment, so it needs to go back to Fuji to have a look at and see what's wrong with it. You've also got a pixel shift on this. I've never used it. I don't even know how it works. But the pixel shift means it takes multi-shots and it will stick together a 160 megapixel image. 160 megapixels. How? I can't even get that through my head. All right, so I'm going to have a look and see how this works. Do you know what? I'm going to look on a YouTube video and I'm going to go on a video and see someone actually knows how to use this thing. That's bonkers. That's insane. 160 megapixels pixel shift. So we're going to see how that works. If I want to bin, a really big image, that's going to be the way of doing it, because the X-T4 at 20 megapixels or 23 or whatever it was, if you wanted to blow the pictures up big, they do break down. They're not perfect for that. So it's got a X5 processor. A new processor inside this than the X-T4, which means it should be faster. Let's hope this is a little bit more closer to my full frame cameras I used to have. I sold out on my full frame. I had a I had a Canon 5D Mark III, Canon 5D Mark IV, loved them. That Mark IV was a robust engine of a camera. It was just a monster, and I sold out for Fuji. I just fell in love with the Fuji, started using it, enjoyed it, and this is what it's all about, enjoying your photography and not having the best, you know, and stuff like that. It's just enjoying it, and I enjoy using these cameras. I absolutely adore using them. They're so simple, so ergonomically. If I want a bit more light, I just go click, click, I've got a bit more light. If I don't want a bit more light, I go click, click, and it's down. I don't have to look for a button. I don't have to press a button. I don't have to compare anything. I just literally flick the button. It's so easy. It weighs 557 grams. Compared to the X-T4, I'm not quite sure, but it is lighter. It's definitely lighter. You can feel that little bit of difference. It's only a few grams, but it definitely feels lighter in your hand, and it feels more toy-like, even though it's not. It just really feels smaller and lighter. 19 film simulations. Again, this is something I don't use a lot. I normally set mine up to a classic chrome and leave it in that, and then just everything's in RAW anyway, so I don't use the JPEG images. So maybe that's why it's different. Maybe I need to check and make sure my settings are exactly the same for the JPEG view. I'm not sure how I'll do that, but I will check that after and have a look. It says it's 30% smaller files with a 10-bit quality. I don't understand that myself, but I'm reading it off the screen, and you know, I shouldn't really be doing that, to be honest. It will shoot video up to 6.2K at 30 frames a second. Wow, pretty good. 6K. Don't even use 6K. I don't even use 4K. When I make my videos and what I'm video recording you on now, I use 1080p because you only watch it back in 1080p on YouTube. So there's no point in me recording it anything bigger really and wasting space. So yeah, it shoots 6K if you want to do shoot. Easy for me to say, hey. F-Log2, it's got an F-Log2. Again, I don't know anything about F-Log2, but F-Log2 is, I understand, one of the best formats. It's the raw version of film, so you can then edit and process it as you do. So yeah, I'm not interested in talking to all of that. 13 stop stabilizer, I think, or 13 stops dynamic range. Yep, 13 stop dynamic range. I think it's got a 7-stop image stabilizer. So a 7-stop image stabilizer, it means you can go down a lot slower and still be able to get the shots. So the image stabilizer on this is a little bit better than the X-T4. So that, again, I've been shooting a little bit handheld this week as well, so I'm interested to see how that pans out. It's got dual memory cards, same as the X-T4. It's got dual SD cards. For me, I prefer that. I know the XH2 has one of those CF thingy cards, which means me having to buy more cards, and I don't want to do that. So I was so pleased this come out because this is the one I wanted. It's still ergonomically same, it's still exactly the same as my other ones, and I've got 2 SD cards, which for me is an absolute winner. When I do weddings and stuff, I wouldn't use a camera that didn't have 2 SD cards, because if one packs up or goes corrupt, you still got the other one. Always short dual cards. I'm rambling on, but I just want to go through some of it. So you've got the X Processor 5 X series. You've got the 40.2 megapixel sensor. It's fully featured 7-stop IBIS weather resistant deep learning AF technology. Deep learning? What does deep learning mean? But it's got deep learning technology. Where have we got here? Blah, 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 blah. Body X-T5 is 557 grams. I'm going to go to a full spec for you just to read it off, and this is not really what I wanted to switch on, but I just want to go for a full specifications for you just to give you an idea. Sensor size is 23.5 by 15.6 millimeters APS-C sensor. It's an X-Trans Camos 5 HR with primary color filter. Fantastic. Don't know what it means. I'm one of these very raw, very rugged people. I like to pick the camera up and use it. I don't particularly care what's going on inside. That's Fuji's job, or Canon's job, or Nikon's job. That's their job. My job is just to pick it up, take a photograph and enjoy taking it, and hopefully get something good and good results. So better low light quality, faster, more pixels to get more detail. I'm not even worried. I've always been happy with, I went from a full frame camera with megapixels, 30.6 or whatever, 36, down to a 20. I was happy with that. It didn't bother me. It wasn't about the pixels, it was about taking the picture, but this will give me more scope to crop if I need to. Image size, it means it's going to produce an image size of 7,728 by 5,152 pixels. That's bigger than this. I think this is 4,000 something. So yeah, when I get home on the computer, it's going to be interesting. What I have noticed is when you zoom in on the back, you can zoom in more. So there obviously you got that distance, you can actually zoom in and get things. IOS range from 125 to 12,800, extended to 64 and 51.2. Right, so the X-T5 I think was a ISO 200. This was an ISO 160, and this is now an ISO 125. So we're getting down closer to the ISO 100s. I don't understand why. Please someone let me know why Fuji can't do an ISO 100, the same as every other standard camera. I mean, I think Nikon's standard is now 64. But every camera seems to be ISO 100, seems to be the base. But the base is on these 200, 160 and now 125. I don't understand quite why you can't go to 100, but it does mean I've got a little bit better ISO, and it goes up to 12,800. I think the X-T4 was similar on that size, but your extended low goes down to 64 now. I don't tend to use that because that's digital magic, and I prefer to use the base raw ISO. Metering system, we've got a TTL 256 zone metering. I think it's got 256 metering positions on the screen. Shutter release 15 minutes to 1/180 thousandths of a second. 1/180 thousandths of a second. So you can't even blink that fast. Okay, this, if you've got the light to filter into this camera, this will shoot at 180,000 frames a second. Why do you want to? Why do you want to? I don't want to get technical. It's just Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, USB-C, HDMI, Type D, audio in, hot shoe. Yeah, it's got all the standard things as it works. Do I like it? That's what it's about, really. Do I like it? Yes, I do. Do I like the rear screen? No, I don't. I'm gutted about the rear screen. It's going to cause me problems. The X-T4, only when I first got it, I didn't like it, and then I grew on me. I adopted that L bracket, and it became the best screen I've ever used. Love it, brilliant. I can go in any position, see anywhere I want, and get that camera in any tight nook and cranny, and I can still see in that screen. I can see around corners. That's the other thing. I can set my camera up, you know, shooting round a, you know, down round a rock or something, and I can flip my screen and I can see here, and I always typical that the memory card ran out on my recording camera. Where was I? What was I saying? I was talking about the screen, wasn't I? Yeah, I can set my camera up on a tripod, maybe looking, if I've got it balanced off of a cliff or something like that, and I can see in the screen, and I can see what I'm setting my camera up looking sideways. I can also do that if I'm going the other direction. I can now flip my screen and I can see this direction. So I can see this way and I can see that way. Why have they taken that off? Why have they done that? Because I can only go this way. I can't go this way anymore. Why have you done that? Fuji, I'm so gutted. So gutted. This would have been almost perfect for me. As it is now, there's going to be some situations where I can't take the photograph. I can't get the shot. I just can't do it. And that's going to be a bit of a shame. So that's all I want to do. My first impression of my X-T5. It seems like it's a really good camera. I will report back on it later on, a few weeks down the line, once I've actually processed some of the images, and I'll even do a like for like. I'll take a shot with this, and we'll compare them as well. That's it, really. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. And I've been rambling all about this camera. Are you an X-T5 or an X-T Fuji user? If you are you getting the X-T5? What are you using? Have you got the X-T2? Denise has got the X-T2. She's now having my X-T3. She's almost told me she's having that. So what camera do you use? And why you choose to use whichever Fuji you use? Or are you not a Fuji? I mean, I love that new Nikon. Yes, and I've said that out loud, I do. But yeah, tell me about your Fuji, what you use. Are you going to be getting the X-T5? What you like about it, what you don't? Or have you just bought the XH2? Yeah, I love it. Really, really nice. Just a shame about that screen. It's so upsetting. I'm off. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.